Perfect. Okay, so we can probably just jump to the next slide here, which I think is just the agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. So like I said, Independent Bookstore Day, an app updates, Bookstore Finder, some navigation updates, campaigns, and then we'll end with some hand selling tips. And again, hopefully we have plenty of time for Q&A. So we'll kind of crank through some of this. We'll allow pauses for dialogue, and then make sure at the end we can talk through any questions that there are. So you can go to the next slide for Independent Bookstore Day. And then the next one. So I think, or I hope that a lot of you have heard or seen the emails and plans of what we're supporting Independent Bookstore Day with. But in short, we're trying to encourage shopping at your bookstore on Independent Bookstore Day. So we did a similar offer back in the fall and the winter time. And we're doing that again because it was successful and we saw a lot of purchases happening at local bookstores. So in short, any customer who spends $15 or the equivalent in a local currency, this is a worldwide offer and available to our friends in Canada as well. Between that Saturday, the 24th, and Monday, they'll get to select a free audiobook. So the 12 audiobooks that will be available are pictured right here. Customers get to pick one of the 12, but we're really excited about the titles that we have, and hopefully this is a way to really drive purchases at your local bookstore. People don't have to purchase books. That $15 could be socks, it could be cards, it could be anything that your bookstore sells. And if you go to the next slide, kind of break down how it works. Feedback, there we go. So like I said, it's $15 US or excuse me, $15 in store or online. The next step is that customers submit their receipt. So either they can take a picture of their physical receipt. This works for pre-orders. So if a customer pre-orders a book and it's a handwritten receipt, that's completely fine. Or if it's a receipt that they receive online, they submit at the URL that's noted here. The submission form is not live right now. So if you go to that site and say, where do I enter in my receipt? It won't be live until Independent Bookstore Day. And then customers have a window, a few days in order to submit their receipt, select their audiobook, and then we take care of sending them a link with their free audiobook. So as a bookstore, there's really nothing that you need to do. We handle the fulfillment. The one thing to do is just let your customers know that this is available to them. So promoting it, and then if you go to the next slide, Nikki, we have a range of assets. So there's digital graphics to include for social media and emails. There's flyers that can be handed out and printed that have those 3 steps with the URL so people know where to go. We don't want to create extra work for you in fulfillment. So just encourage your customers to go to our website, to reach us. If there's any questions, we have a robust FAQ that's linked to on the website. But we're really excited about the titles that we're offering and about driving hopefully sales at your bookstores. I'll just pause and see if there's any questions on Independent Bookstore Day before we keep moving forward.
No questions so far.
Okay, we'll keep going then. So I think next up is our app update, which is super, super exciting. So I'm going to pass it over to our iOS team. So for Erwin and Waleed to talk through what's new in the app, or coming very soon.
Hello, everyone. You can hear me all right, I hope. Yes, I'm Erwin Coleman. I'm the lead of the iOS team, and Waleed, I can't see him on my view, but if you're there, please wave. We have been working very hard for many months on a rework of our mobile application. I see Waleed now. There we go. And we're real excited. It's a big transformation for the app and the experience for all our customers. So you'll see first and foremost, one of the newest additions is our Explore view. The way to think about it is sort of a jumping off point for all users to discover new books and new authors, whatever. There's a huge range of options, and you'll see that information about the local bookstore is very prominent on that screen, so they can keep a tighter connection with their local stores. It's great, right there front and center. So, and of course, some of the information is customized logos, so forth. And if you could go ahead one more slide, show the next bit. All right, we've also added this notion of playlists. So we have a huge collection of searchable playlists, and bookstores are, our #1 source of recommendations. This is another way for folks to discover new, great authors, books, what have you. Go in one more. And then here's a big change. Previously, we're only able to enable any purchasing on the web. We now will be allowing for purchases via credits. So if you have credits, you see a book you like, one button push and the book's in your library, and you can go on from there, download and start listening within minutes. Go ahead. Advance one. All right. And then if you don't, here you go. We have the wish list. So users can track all of their wants. I know how that is. So I've got quite a few myself. You can go ahead one more. And then if you're involved in ALC, those books can be redeemed right there in the app. It's the same flow as the purchases without the cost, essentially, from experience. So those will all be available in app. And we'll go one more, see where we're at. And then, yeah, so we have a customizable bookstore information. So once a user is affiliated, they can always check out this information for contact info or description. And there's also an ability to search for various nearby bookstores and things like that. And go from there. I think that might be the last bit. Okay. Yeah. So let me stop and just ask if anyone has any questions. I'll just say, add to that I'll let the Android team speak of this next stuff, but we're currently doing a beta. We're testing out these features, making sure everything's working and stable, and then we'll be putting that out for general use very, very soon. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask.
We pass it over to Davin. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, it looks like my mic's working. So, hi, I'm Davin. I'm the Android lead. The Android update is not quite as momentous as the iOS one, but what we're doing right now, for the most part, isn't adding customer-facing features. It's mostly stuff kind of in the kind of under the hood. We're basically fixing all of the guts of the Android application. There are a lot of things that we realized that we needed to rework, in part because there were individual elements of the structure of the app that needed change anyway. There were certain things that weren't working quite right, and various things like that. But on top of that, we wanted to put ourselves in a good position to implement what iOS is rolling out right now as efficiently as possible. And so that's kind of where Android is right now.
Excellent. And I think, for us, this update is super exciting for, your customers, for you, obviously, for booksellers to be able, you can get your ALCs in the app, which is so nice to not have to go to the website and take that extra step. But I think also we hear a lot of feedback via our app and via customers that kind of their one thing is, I wish I could be able to do purchases in the app. So as we track all that feedback that is incoming through the App Store, through our support channels, that is the one kind of thing that's been requested. So we hope that this, this update is not only just exciting for everyone in general, booksellers, but it also gives us an edge to be on par with Amazon and Audible in terms of what they offer and the ability to redeem credits in there. So we know that the hurdle is getting people from Audible to Librofm, and this kind of takes away one hurdle, I think, in that process of getting people to hopefully move to Librofm and support your bookstore. So our next piece, we can keep moving on from here. And I'm going to pass it over to Nick to talk about some updates, Bookstore Navigation, and then some assets.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm Nick Johnson. I'm the creative director here at Libro. Thanks for going to this slide, Nikki. So if you are a registered bookseller with Libro, you probably noticed this navigational bar has appeared in the last couple of weeks when you're logged in. If you're not a registered bookseller, shoot us an email and we'll get you registered. Anyways, what we've done is we've introduced this partner menu, which when you're on a desktop computer, it appears along the left. When you're on a mobile device, it appears along the bottom. This is only when you're logged in. And it's basically a way for you to get to all the relevant content on Libro in a really, really quick and easy to use format. So the icon at the very top of the partner menu will show your store's icon, in this case, 5 and 5 Books. And it is a link either back to your storefront, or if you're a bookstore administrator, it'll be a link to your dashboard where you can see all of your bookstore details, customers, orders, so on and so forth. We also moved the link generator from the main top navigation into this partner menu. This is a really great little tool. Any page you're on, whether it's a book page, a playlist page, a story page, anywhere on the Libro site, if you click this icon, it will create a link that is specific to your store, has your code added to the end of it. So if you're going to be sharing something on social media, click this little link generator and it creates the perfect URL for you to share. We also added the invite tab over to here. So if you're talking to a customer, they're interested in learning a little bit more about Libro and audiobooks, just click this button and type in their email address, and that's it. We'll send them a follow-up email on behalf of your store, telling them more about Libro and audiobooks, and inviting them to create an account and support you. We also included the ALC link, so whatever the current ALCs for the month are, you can easily access them by clicking that. And then the Bookseller Hub link at the bottom, this takes you to the hub where you can find all sorts of marketing resources, current campaigns, logos, so on and so forth. So it's just a way for you to get all the information you need to promote audiobooks in one quick format. If there's any questions about that, feel free to raise your hand or put a message in the chat window. If not, Nikki, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So per request from booksellers in our Facebook group, a lot of stores were asking for Canva templates because they use Canva for their own marketing materials. So we created a bunch. Broadly, they are broken up into 3 specific categories. The first are digital templates. These are general templates. They don't have any sort of specific timing to them. They're just a way to promote audiobooks in the digital format. So they're formatted for social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, so on and so forth. Then the second category are print templates. These are made to be printed out, and they're formatted for flyer size, bookmarks, shelf toppers, so on and so forth. And then the third category are campaign specific. So when we have a specific campaign that we're promoting, for instance, Independent Bookstore Day, we'll create various Canva templates that your store can modify for your own needs. If you go to the next slide, Nikki, I'll kind of walk you through what these templates look like. So this is an example of one of the print templates that we have in Canva. And you can see that it obviously has the branding of the campaign, but there are a lot of customizable elements for your store. The first is we put a QR code on these, which leads you directly to the specific page we're promoting. But if you want to replace that with your own QR code or remove it, it is an editable element. You can also customize the text in URL. We kind of gave it a starting point, but if you want to put your own store's name in there or your store's URL, you can do that. And we also created a spot for you to put your bookstore logo if you'd like to. So that's all super easy to use. And we're receiving great feedback in the Facebook bookseller group about this. And obviously we want more feedback as you guys start playing around with it. I think that's pretty much it for me. If there's any other questions, let me know. But if not, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Priya, who will talk about the Bookstore Finder.
Hi, everyone. My name's Priya. I am a software engineer here, and I work on website stuff. So this is our new Bookstore Finder. We've mapped out all of our bookstore partners, And we're allowing customers to search by bookstore name, zip code, city. There's like a radius, which you can find, your closest local bookstore in like a radius of 50 miles. We also have some special bookstore attributes like AAPI owned, which stands for Asian American and Pacific Islander, author owned, Black owned, disabled owned. They're all like listed there. And you as booksellers can select your attributes in the bookseller dashboard and assign your store the attributes you want. So yeah, if you have any questions about the Finder, please let me know. Yeah, I'll hand it off, I think, to Stephanie for.
To me.
Oh, sorry, Jenna. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm our Senior Content Marketing Manager. My name is Jenna, and I'm just going to briefly go through some campaigns and collections that we have coming in Q2 and Q3. So April, surprise, Independent Bookstore Day. Obviously, we have that, and it's also Poetry Month. So we have some content surrounding that. May, we will be focused on AAPI Heritage Month, which Priya had already said stands for Asian American and Pacific Islander. So we'll be celebrating AAPI owned bookstores, and then we'll also be launching a collection of AAPI authored audiobooks. And just for some background on our collections, this was a new initiative that we started late last year, and it's basically focused landing pages on our website that highlight both front list and backlist titles by a specific group of authors. And to select the audiobooks that go into these collections, we solicit titles from publishers, so they send them to us, and then we align these launches with various holidays or recognition periods. And then also in May, it's Teacher Appreciation Week. So we'll be having some content around that, as well as promoting our ALC program. And then June is really the big month of the year for us with Audiobook Month, Juneteenth, and it's also Pride Month. So we'll be promoting LGBTQIA+ owned bookstores and also have a collection of authored audiobooks. It's also my birthday in June, but who's asking about that? And then July, we will have a summer listening campaign, which I'll talk about, I'll talk more on Audiobook Month on the next slide, but sticking to July, summer listening, as well as celebrating the ADA anniversary on July 26th, and it's also Disability Pride Month in New York. So we'll have some content around audiobooks that are authored by people who are disabled. And Nikki, you can go to the next slide now. And then, so for Audiobook Month, we have 2 campaigns going. So for booksellers, we have a $10 bookseller incentive for new memberships. So the gist of this is that for each person who starts a new membership through your unique referral code, you will be paid $10. We'll have more info about that, and we'll email you guys a form to sign up and all of that. So don't worry too much about that for now. And then we'll also have a content series on our social channels that's really covering like why Librofm, why audiobooks, and all the importance of shopping local, as well as bookseller recommendations. And I'm not sure who is next after me.
I think that's me. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll just pause and see if there's any questions or anything coming through. I haven't seen anything in chat. Nope. Okay. We'll keep going. And just, I think, so those of you here we will send this out, or we'll work through Linda Marie to make sure that this is sent out so you don't have to worry about scrambling and taking notes. And a lot of the links that we've referenced, we'll make sure that we can send a follow-up that can get to you with all the links. So these are just some tips. Tried to make a top 10, but it was too hard. So they're top 11. But just some ways that you can utilize some of the things that we talked about earlier in just helping to, hand sell, to market audiobooks at your local bookstore. We get questions a lot about, what are people doing well? The stores that are, performing well and seeing lots of sales, what are they doing? So these are some of those things that we know that bookstores are doing, who are seeing, sales of audiobooks and growth. The first thing is adding audiobooks to your website. So making sure it's easy for people to know that you offer them. We obviously integrate with Indie Commerce Book Manager and then the bookshop integration. But I think what we've seen is having a spot on your website that talks about that relationship with Librofm and just letting people know, audiobooks, having your staff recommendations, playlists featured, all those things are a great way to introduce your customers to audiobooks. Customizing your storefront. So this, again, Erwin spoke to this earlier, but there's ways now in the app, which is really exciting, and on the website to really personalize that experience and make it feel like an extension of your bookstore. That really, creating playlists is such a huge important piece of that. So much like you would curate, a list or books in your storefront window, think of it as the same way in terms of having, whatever playlist you want pinned. Your playlist can be changed, they can be edited, they can be updated. If you had the current staff reads or staff listens playlist, that's something that you could update periodically. You can also write a custom message, and then again, as Priya shared, updating your attributes. Third piece is just having your staff listen to ALC. So this is a free benefit for all of your booksellers. So if your booksellers are not set up with ALC access, all you have to do is email us the list of emails to add to our system, and we'll add them in the system, and they can get set up with listening. We see a correlation with bookstores that have a lot of booksellers listening to ALCs and the strength of the audiobook sales. I think, experience in listening is the best way for people to get familiar with the app, with recommendations, and with talking with customers about it.
Stephanie, can I just interject real quick? We have a couple brand new bookseller ACEBA members on this call. They might not know what ALC stands for.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They're audiobook listening copies. So they're ARCs basically, but they're audio ARCs. So yeah, how it works is that there's usually around 30 to 40 free titles a month. They're all, new release titles. So those are, we work with the publishers, we ask them for nominations. We try to make sure that they are 50% BIPOC. And then we kind of curate that final list that gets presented to booksellers each month. So you can, Zoom and listen as many audiobooks as you can in the given month. They're yours to keep. You can download as many as you want. And we also have a subset of the ALC program that is available to influencers, to librarians, and to educators. So it's a smaller subset of audiobooks that we select, and we'll vary the content in those given the different audiences. And we can send a link that you can share to invite people to join that program. We can go to the next one.
Stephanie, I had a question too. Who is the best contact for a new store that wants to sign up to become a partner with Librofm?
Just to email, so bookstores@libro.fm is the best way to reach out. That reaches our team, and someone will respond to you pretty quickly. We're pretty good about getting back to people quickly, and we can follow up with this. And I think Mark just posted that in the chat. So I'll try to go through these quickly so we have more time for questions. Handing out materials. So for those of you who haven't taken advantage of this perk, we have free marketing boxes. These marketing boxes come with stickers, with bookmarks, with flyers. You can kind of curate what you want in that list. There's a link again we can provide for requesting these free boxes, which are a great way to hand out materials. Submitting recommendations. So we, for us, the unique difference of Librofm is that the recommendations and the curation is done by expert booksellers, right? It's not algorithms and what Amazon does. And so to us, that is a huge piece of what we do, and what we love to celebrate is the recommendations from our expert booksellers. So we welcome you to submit those on our website. Again, we can follow up with a link for you to do that. And we feature those on our website. We share them in social media. We send you a link back so you can also share those to your customers as well. A dedicated audiobook email. So inviting your customers to try is, a great way of listing those benefits of Librofm versus Amazon's Audible. So a lot of customers might not even know that you offer audiobooks. And we can go to the next slide here. Reaching out to current audiobook customers. So I think this is just a simple thing. It takes, a little bit of time, but anyone who uses as a Librofm partner of ours knows that you get email confirmations when sales happen. You have all your customer contact information in your dashboard. So I think just letting them know as much as, they would come into your store and purchase a book from you, and you would thank them if you see a transaction happening, the audiobook purchase, sending them a quick thank you note, which I know some bookstores do. And I think is a nice way just to have that, again, that personal connection and knowing that their audiobook purchases, are an extension of their bookstore. Educating guest authors. So there's a huge gap of knowledge and understanding, from authors that their audiobooks are available on Librofm. So I think, anything that you can do, and we can kind of help each other just to educate authors coming in, so they don't, say to all your customers, buy it on Audible, which we know sometimes can happen. So I think that's just a great way to educate them that their audiobook is available. Social series. So obviously social media is so important, and I think repetition. So having a series and something, a way, I think a lot of people say, well, how, I'll share it on social, but how do I keep sharing it? I think having something that's maybe consistent in your calendar, whether it's staff picks, what you're loving in audio, what you're, I think having that repetition is key for customers to get recommendations. And then our last two, and I'll stop talking. Last one, so connecting with companies. So just to keep in mind as you're connecting with companies that reach out about ordering audiobooks in bulk, is that we can support you with audiobooks in bulk. We have a number of different options to do this. So if you are talking with companies and they're looking to get books to employees and they're worried about distribution, knowing that people are working from home and it can be challenging to distribute physical copies, we can support you with audiobooks in bulk. And just a hot tip that Audible for Business is ending in June. So there are people who are looking for alternatives to Audible for Business. So just know that is ending. So it's a good time to talk to companies. And then last but not least, I mentioned this earlier, but the ALC program, audiobook listening copies, that's available to others, educators, librarians, and influencers. So it's a great way to invite people to try audiobooks for free. And the goal there is really to get them, talking in their communities and people that follow them about buying audiobooks through your local bookstore. So with that, I'm going to wrap and open it up for any questions, comments.
There is a question in the chat.
Yeah.
It's from Julia Davis, who wanted to know how she could make sure her account is set up completely because the previous owner didn't fully market the program.
Yeah, just email us so the email, I think it's a few chats higher, bookstores@libro.fm, and someone you'll see here, and we'll respond to you, and we can make sure that's all set up on the back end. Any other questions, comments, technical questions? We have
Well, if we don't have more questions, I just wanted to thank you and all of the Librofm team for being here today and giving us all this information. We did record your presentation, and we'll share the link to the recording in our newsletter. And then you mentioned we could share the PDFs from this as well, and important links that booksellers can take advantage of.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you for everyone who joined. And yeah, we wish you a very successful independent bookstore day at your store, and hopefully a mix of in-person and online activity.